Welcome back here to the Smite Console League. I'm Tom Banninger, joined here by Taco. I'm laughing a little bit. So that HRX promo, that hype reel, I saw a funny thing on the kill feed. Baskin shuts down Taco. We got you in there too, just getting stomped on.
I don't think that's what the case is. I was the one who soloed Baskin.
I don't know about that one, Taco. Maybe someday. But right now, we're in PlayStation. It's going to be Freecs up to bat. They've got their team ready, and they're going to see what they can do today, this afternoon. Are you excited to see what they can do against Imnsonia?
It should be a pretty heated rematch between the two. If I remember correctly, Freecs actually coming away with this one in a little bit of an upset the last time we saw these two teams go at it. So I do believe that Freecs have definitely started to, or excuse me, Imnsonia that pulled away with the upset against Freecs.
Yeah, Freecs has been a strong team. Imnsonia able to kind of leapfrog them over. In Control will be playing later on this afternoon, but as far as the PlayStation League is concerned, I've been excited about their level of play, and I think they might be able to surprise some people at LAN. HRX is on the way November 16th through the 18th. hi-rezexpo.com, that's the place to grab tickets. Smite, Paladins, Console, PC, and a slew of other fun games there directly at DreamHack in downtown Atlanta.
And just in case you didn't get enough of the action, make sure you don't miss out on that after-party event that'll be taking place immediately after the main events of DreamHack and all the games, and that'll be another opportunity to really get a chance to see people in a more stress-free environment.
Yeah, a lot of fun to hang out and relax with your favorite Smite personalities, your favorite Paladins casters, the whole 9 yards. Make sure you give Pretty Hair a big high five, and that's really what we're looking forward to for November. For right now, though, we're looking forward to Freecs taking on Imnsonia. P's and B's on their way. Pretty please. And there we are. Imnsonia will have the first selection. They're on the clock first.
I am actually waiting to see if there's going to be any target band selection choices, such as maybe looking towards Poseidon, Giannis. We've already seen the Aphrodite earlier on the day on the Xbox side of things, now moving over into PS4. I think on the PlayStation side of things, there's still a lot of player preferences that these teams are more than aware of by now.
Well, right now the band's more meta-focused, I'll say. The Baron, the Chernobog, no Freya, and Freecs going to ban out the Susano, which is a little bit of that player preference that you were talking about. First choice overall here for Imnsonia. They've got a lot of directions to go in, but it will be the jungler, Pele. And maybe I'll check myself on jungle. She has shown up in the solo lane as well. The assassin, Pele, very strong in her own right.
That does leave the Terra open, however, and Freecs, they'll grab that in no time at all. Terra been prioritized so heavily, and I actually like having the root here to try and slow down the chase potential of the Pele.
Yeah, she's really hard to keep a leash on. Very, very fast with the movement speed ability on her third slot, so really hard to lock down. Root's going to look good there. Discordia also player with a root. Imnsonia are going to pair their assassin up with an Osiris, though. Also a Soul. A lot of slippery characters there.
A lot of even damage, though, across the board here for Imnsonia in comparison to Freecs, who really only have that Discordia going for them. And as far as early game pressure is concerned, their lane Shen should help compensate a little bit better here, because Discordia and Terra was already starting to draw some concerns about a lack of presence early on from Freecs' team. So I am hoping that they continue to round this off with a couple of more, or at least one more pressure pick, perhaps for their Hunter. They can go for a strong choice like on her, essentially, or even the Ho Yi. We've seen a little bit of that lately on the console side of things. And as far as Imnsonia are concerned, I think they just really need crowd control.
Well, I agree as well. Freecs going to ban out the Athena, so they won't have that option available to them. And with the Shivalake banned out as well, Freecs going to look towards Uller for their Hunter. Imnsonia now needs some crowd control. Amaterasu not really going to bring it. The ultimate does have that lockdown potential. She's half and half, I feel like.
It's a little bit. It's not as good as it could have been for crowd control, but it's decent enough. And I like, actually, that we see this Amma pickup now that the Raw is going to be finalizing Imnsomnia's draft, because sure, they might lack a little bit of crowd control here, but they make up for it with Sustain. And I think Sustain and the ability to consistently re-engage throughout a team fight could pose a lot of issues here for Freecs, because they don't have a whole lot going for themselves.
That's true. I am looking at the lack of hard crowd control. Amaterasu has it on the ultimate. That's really it. The silence, not really that hard. And Ra, 0 CC. outside of the blind?
I think it's because I feel like Ullr and Discordia, as far as carries are concerned, are fairly susceptible to getting ganked early on and repeatedly, because Ullr, without that crowd control on ultimate or an ultimate period, I think it's going to make things a little bit easier for this Pele Osiris to kind of just run him down in the backline. So really a lot of this might just depend on how well Atonement can actually maneuver throughout these team fights.
That's fair. Atonement certainly going to have his work cut out for him. Jose on the Ra will be able to have good lane control, I think, in the early game. We'll see how Discordia fares over there. But again, the Osiris making an appearance here. The Berserker Shield, so important for these in-hand characters later in the stage of our season, that we've seen a lot more of them across the itemization, and honestly, Osiris just really that dominant.
Also, I just want to correct myself for a second here. For some reason, I was thinking of Imnsonia as Bulldog from their performance last week up against Freecs, and Bulldog, who managed to pull away with an upset victory over Freecs, but that's not Bulldog playing here today with Gunter Warrior. It's going to be Imnsonia instead, trying to tackle the Freecs, and the Freecs have been looking pretty darn good outside of that set loss against Bulldog. I think that they're still a force to be reckoned with.
I've liked what Freecs have been bringing out so far. OhMyJhox going to have some trouble here, as him and his teammate lose to 2v2, but still go to the left side. Harpies looking like two eager beavers. Really want to fight over those.
It's not a lot to be said here for this solo lane. Osiris, Erlang, two slapboxing warriors, essentially. They'll just continue to smack at each other for the next 10 minutes or so. Probably won't expect to see a whole lot of Plasma or Jhox looking to prioritize rotating over into solo anytime soon, and for good reason. While sure they could put a little bit of pressure against one warrior or the other, it wouldn't really pan out very well for the rest of their team, because that would just maybe leave duo or mid lane a little bit too vulnerable to getting invaded on those early buff respawns.
Meanwhile, Imnsonia just looking to stay aggressive here. Zoning Freecs out just a little bit in their duo lane. And able to do so, and just controlling this. Purple buff not up just yet, so the poke is where Imnsonia have their eyes.
I like this, though, from O's Beast, because constantly spamming the Stellar Burst, even if you're not directly hitting the creep wave, you're still getting a decent AoE spread onto those minions, but just poking out the Ullr so heavily was just going to force AtonementSmite to not want to push up to the wave as much. Yeah,
and it's been a big deterrent. Atonement has not been able to really walk up there and find himself in a good spot. Meanwhile, Imnsonia now looking for the fight because they have help from the jungle, but Freecs has help from everyone else. You can see Vente coming through, and they're going to secure the purple buff. And I love this play by Freecs. They don't get goaded into the team fight. They go for the sure win, which is the purple buff.
And they still come out with an even better win from that small little skirmishing duo, because Beast actually expended those purification beads pretty early on, maybe expecting a little bit more aggression there from Atonement and mrsacx, thinking that there was a possible rotation coming in since Jhox came over.
Yep, able to just sort of keep things going. Jhox thinking about it. Atonement pushing up with the dash forward from Kino. That's going to be the note, but just a little bit too early. The jungler doesn't get involved. Maybe the wraparound will bait people in, and that's the thought process. Atonement, I don't know who he was aiming at with that axe. Jhox, go around the back. Jhox, oh, they wait for the dash from mrsacx. Jhox is here, only level 4, so the damage from the in-hands will have to do. Not good enough. I don't like the pathing there, Taco.
Pathing a little bit questionable. I think Kino did a great job baiting in mrsacx, but probably should have looked to cut him off a little bit sooner there from Jhox. He should have came as soon as mrsacx used that dash forward onto Kino to get the initial root proc. I think that between Beast and Jhox, they could have maybe found some sort of interrupt for that secondary dash. Instead, it's going to be the upgraded Heavenly that gets mrsacx out of danger.
Even the wraparound, right? If the timing was off, but the jungler has more room to play with, that's probably a kill.
They didn't have any way to body block him either after he popped that sprint, so without any slows, being relevant in that situation. It's just all too easy for mrsacx to get up on out of there. And, well, AtonementSmite probably happy to see his support still alive. And a nice juke there from digitBloZe that might have seemed questionable at first makes perfect sense right now when you realize that JhoX has made the rotation.
Meanwhile, the damage here coming out from the solo and the jungle. Good enough. First blood going to Imnsonia. Another good juke coming from digitBloZe. Plasma trying to find the damage, and he won't. digitBloZe. Just a flesh wound. He'll head back to base.
What's the HP on that? That had to have been 2 HP.
That had to be single digit for sure.
There's no way that was above 10. Plasma did not even need another ability to connect. Just one more auto would have done the trick, but didn't want to risk investing any deeper and concerned that I think JhoX would have just turned that around and found a return fire kill. Even if he had picked up the Osiris, probably would not have been worth for Plasma.
Yeah, 9 HP confirmed right there. And I agree. I think the retreat was the unfortunate correct move. If he stays there and gets the kill, I think JhoX gets the follow-up kill. And it's sure one thing for Rava to be 1-1. It's another thing for the Pele across the way to be 2-0-0. So I think that was the right move. I do like that move. Unfortunately, sometimes you just got to look at the 1 HP player walk away. And you know what? To be fair, that's a mature move. To be able to let that go. Smart. I don't know a lot of players that would have let that go.
It's good player discipline.
Yeah.
It shows a little bit of experience, which I think Plasma has certainly acquired throughout these weeks of competition in the PS4 League. Nice dash, though, from Kino. Gonna avoid some initial damage from Plasma, but he'll end up finding some return fire either way. The real downside, though, is Cynortas. After not only losing the exchange, but Digit not being brought down after the fact by Plasma, just allow Digit to collect another 2 creep waves, I believe, before he actually ended up backing, which is why we see the full boots already online for the Osiris. Cynortas just now having back to finish off his own Warrior Tabi. But that initial slapbox exchange, that's all it really takes.
Oh, is Beast. Wiggling on out of there. The Terra. What a season for Terra. They started off this year with a global ultimate and was first pick, first ban. They changed her ultimate and was nowhere to be seen. They did nothing, and now she's first pick, first ban again. Just kind of the ups and downs, you know, of players really. All right, this god is not what he used to be, but what can it be? And what's the word, Taco? The refiguring out, if you will? Well,
there's always picks that are going to fluctuate in and out of the meta. It kind of just is dependent. I think it is platform dependent. Console in general, Xbox and PS4, they tend to have their own specific metas within the overall Season 5 meta that we see branching from the SPL.
For sure.
And that's probably one of the more fun aspects, in my point of view, for watching the console side of things, because it's interesting to see this heavy prioritization towards the Terra, and then you just remember, well, giant AoEs that have crowd control applied, applicable in them, tend to be the go-tos for console. Yep. And Terra's Earth and Fury, I think, as well, because of how hectic a lot of these team fight engagements can get around objectives, and how aggressive the overall playstyle tends to be for console. That's why I like this Terra pickup.
Plasma with a beautiful play right there, just really patient. Waits about a wave and a half, blinks on in, gets the combo. Root into the boot, and just down for the count goes Blaze. That will be a really important kill to evening up Cynortas and Blaze over there on the right side.
It was a nice blink into the 10-handed Shadow Fist just to fully ensure, because I believe that Lord of the Afterlife just came up off cooldown, so Digit not actually having it to look for the escape until after his death. Yeah,
really smooth play. That's just like you want to see that type of stuff from our pros, because that's just timer attention and players being good with the details.
But with this even exchange on both sides now, all of this coming out of solo lane essentially as well, because JhoX's 1 kill was onto Cynortas to finish him off when JhoX made that gank at the very start, which is surprising because normally you'd anticipate the brunt of the action for the earlier stages to be taking place over in duo, over in mid lane. especially in the duo lane that has a soul, where soul is arguably the most susceptible to ganks during these early stages because she doesn't have a whole lot of health to work with as a mage.
Right. I mean, you do have Disapparate, which can dissuade a couple of players, but, you know, we certainly used to seeing more attention paid to soul. That said, I mean, we got the solo lane gank. Maybe that's where our players are looking at. Keep the solo lane in check. As the game continues on past that 10-minute mark, we might see a little bit more action over there. Right away we do. Plasma shows up in the enemy jungle, bringing down Beast to about 40% very quickly. And the soul player has to go elsewhere.
Beast with the Bancrofts, though, should be able to sustain this right back up, but Cynortas could be in trouble here because JhoX has rotated over, and they will strip away this blue buff from Cynortas, but mrsacx still looking to return fire onto Digit, gonna find him with a nice wall stun. mrsacx, though, gotta be careful here that he doesn't eat too much from JhoX.
But on the left side, Beast in trouble as well. Plasma gets controlled, and the turnaround kill goes the way of Imnsonia. Plasma tried to gank the soul, but she's able to get on out.
Heartbreaking, though, for Plasma. And Atonement had already started abandoning his jungler by the time Plasma was being controlled from the Dazzling offense. Searing Pain not going to be on the mark, though, for Irritant. And Irritant, doubt that he's got any complaints. It was a nice little sidestep there to avoid JhoX and Jose's damage. But this is the problem with Soul. You allow just the slightest bit of pressure in her favor, and that's your T1 already gone. AtonementSmite can no longer fall back to that part of the map, and instead gonna have to farm creep waves, or whatever creep waves Beast and Imnsonia allow to trickle down towards that T2 tower.
And it's a little bit rough there. Soul just in general is so punishing. Man, you really just can't leave lane versus her. The passive just destroys the towers, and it's eesh. That's all I got to say. It's eesh. Imnsonia leading 2-1. Tight game though. We're tied up despite the tier 1 tower going down. Now I'm eager to see players on Imnsonia really look for that Gold Fury. Left lane won't be able to fall back to their tower as easily. So whether they look for the Gold Fury or mid lane pressure, that's where I want to see them transition. Right now they're transitioning onto Cynortas. And another solo lane gank, another successful solo lane gank, mind you. Yarlongshen sits down.
That was just the counter initiation there from JhoX and Digit. Plasma not expecting the Pele to show up at the last second here, and he also was not expecting the Amaterasu to be with them, as Imnsonia don't believe that they were successful, though, when trying to strip away that blue buff. So that's rather unfortunate. But the fact that they found Cynortas anyway is going to be enough for Imnsonia to walk away with content. I just think that the timing Digit has already displayed with that Lord of the Afterlife could not be any better. And if he continues to do that, then that's just going to continue to make things really easy and simple for JhoX anytime he wants to rotate over, because the Erlang just won't have that ult heal proc to rely on.
Yeah, this has been a big game for Digit. He's a level and a half, if not 2 levels above Cynortas. He's gotten the kills thanks to JhoX really coming over. And, you know, it's interesting seeing the jungler spend so much time in the side lane, but if Osiris is going to be able to be a real stand-up carry for them, then it all makes sense.
Just kind of got to wait and see what happens. mrsacx looks like he might be poising around this Gold Fury because it's Freecs trying to collapse onto the dual lane. Beast already falling incredibly low. Shell has been forced out already from Kino, but the Terror Wall stun going to end up grabbing 2.
Plasma's now looking for the Hunter, and down Soul will go. Now the rest of the players try to answer back. JhoX gets taken down. It's a 2 for none. Jose on the rotation, a little bit slow, but the apple misses. And so Freecs will have to hold that. 2 players dead on Imnsonia. Freecs looking for gold.
Those wall corners can be deceiving from the angles that we're watching, too. Jose, though, with that Searing Pain still, has been spotted out by the ward. Freecs actually gave up on this Gold Fury, but Jose, he's just walking over more and more wards. Now everyone from Freecs knows exactly where he's at. Gonna toss out the Searing Pain, hoping to get some damage onto Irritant. Aegis has been released also on top of the Purification Beats.
Zoom.
And Jose, for as often as he can juke, not going to be able to juke his way out of this one.
Not quite, but he might have juked his way out of his team watching Gold Fury. This is now very dangerous. Freecs still offering to do it, but there's the pullback. And honestly, Jose right there makes what seems to be a bonehead play, but he's just wasting the opponent's time and pushes them off of gold long enough that they can no longer do it. That's a win. That's a win for Imnsonia.
Great job by Irritant also to get the last hits with that unruly magic for the Gold Fury Oracles. But mrsacx spotted out by Kino. Keep in mind though, Kino as a support, just not enough damage to bring down the Terra anytime soon. So we'll have to watch that one walk away back to base. But I like the aggression from Kino. Just keeping the Terra from backing, keeping it delayed, in case Imnsonia maybe think about pulling this Gold Fury with Jose being back up and running. Because as far as objective secure is concerned, there's almost nothing in this game that's going to be able to out-confirm the Searing Pain if timed appropriately.
Right, the Searing Pain certainly going to be looking for the slot. Freecs bringing Gold Fury down to about 20%. The advent of the ultimate from the Amaterasu will push players off. Well, he's going to be pushed down himself. The rest of Imnsonia trying to join. Freecs won't really let him, though, and the retreat is good. Plasma is around in case Imnsonia get a little bit over aggressive here, Taco. And Atonement watching the right-hand side, pinged out. There's the blink forward from Plasma, looking for Jose. The rest of Freecs a little bit too slow. Plasma very low, and Jhox going to be able to take him, separated too much from the team. That said, Jhox gets answered back on by Cynortas, and the left side, right side, digitBloZe falls front side. Freecs will take 2 kills for 1.
One strife is all it takes to finish off Digit in the back end. But now Imnsonia with Jose, Kino, and Beast still alive. I'm not sure they're going to be able to contest this Gold Fury. Cynortas doing his best to zone out the Raw. Nice turtle knockup just to keep him even further away. Kino will finally make it back to the Fire Giant pit, but it's too little too late. The Gold Fury has already fallen, and Cynortas, he'll get right on out of there.
I loved the play there from Freecs. That's exactly what you want to do. Zone and make sure the objective goes down away from the clutches of your enemies. Really cool basic smite there coming out. Ultimate from the Ra will miss, but a nice stun sets up Cynortas for death. Beast with the big play there. And Freecs, they got the gold. But Imnsonia get a couple of kills after the fact and work to tie it up.
I'd rather have the Gold Fury than my solo laner. And I think Freecs will probably say the same thing, because this has led to the first real lead that's taken place all game. The experience had already been starting to pull away, but it wasn't really getting out of hand because there were advantages for both sides in different categories. And I think now with that Gold Fury pickup, that's what really catapulted Freecs to be just ever so slightly ahead of Imnsonia.
Yeah, just able to just make it happen, really. That's their game plan at the very least. 18 minutes in. Freecs feeling that one. 1,500 gold up. 7-5, read the kills. Freecs, I'm not going to say the driver's seat, but certainly trying to set the pace of the game.
One thing I do want to point out, though, was the damage that we already saw from Irritant. Didn't get a chance to witness it then and there, but I'm sure it took part of that pick onto Kino. And with 3 members strong in the mid lane, Freecs can still probably look to try and pressure either this T1 or even possibly the Pyromancer, maybe even looking to bait members of Imnsonia into these jungle choke points to look for even more picks.
Could be. Certainly not a bad place to be looking for those picks. I expect to see some wins in lane as well, just like this, but perhaps in the other direction. Atonement in some trouble, misses the axe, gets the separate, and nice and easy. We see the kill go in the direction of the soul.
Might have left Xbox, but you can't stop getting soloed. Atonement falls down to Beast, who really is looking like a beast on this soul.
He's making it work. He really is. We've seen a lot of soul in the mid lane and a shy away from it in the carry position, but coming through in the clutch here. An interesting change up, and Beast making it work. mrsacx in trouble, lined up, but the ultimate not enough damage. Now Jose in trouble, but he's got friends on the front side as well. Beast showing up, but he gets jumped on by Plasma. 2-on-2 with mrsacx in the wings. And Beast going to be here. Blink forward from Jhox, and that'll be one in the direction of Imnsonia. 1 for 2 so far. 1 for 2 again, as Beast will sit down.
Oh, mrsacx gonna end up spotting out. digitBloZe will immediately turn tail and run in the opposite direction. But that is a little bit heartbreaking for Beast to have ended up getting picked there in that mid lane Harpy brawl, just because you finished soloing the Uller, you just finished getting a 2-level lead, and then you die and go back to the fountain for the next 30 seconds. That's going to give Atonement ample time to catch up on that missed XP from having been soloed in the first place, and it'll be almost like nothing ever happened by the time Beast returns. We did get a chance, though, to see the dangers of taking an Uller into this sort of matchup, though. Uller without that ultimate, the second you miss the axe stun, it just means go. To any carry out there, doesn't matter who you're playing, once the Uller axe stun is down, you immediately just turn and burn.
It's like an Agni dash, right? A siren goes off once you know that ability doesn't cool down, because so much of the kit revolves around that stun. If you're not able to get that stun, you're able to be chased down. You're able to miss your abilities. A big part of what Uller wants to do really revolves around the axe stun. So has to look for that one to be available.
Nice, and Shadowfist gonna end up rooting Jox in place one more time there from Plasma. 3-man grouping so far for Imnsonia underneath their T1 tower. Gold Fury still not due to respawn for another 45 seconds or so, and Freecs already looking like they're poised and ready to go.
Yeah, Freecs are thinking about it for sure. Gold Fury up in another 30 seconds, and I'd love for them to sort of get positioning now. Push the enemy out of their zone. That's why we're starting the shift to the left side of the map. Push the enemy out of here, and then look for the Gold Fury with sufficient zoning like you did last time. That was really the good play from Freecs, and I'm sure they're looking for it again.
Something else I've noticed, though, is that Plasma actually seemed to be struggling a little bit with his mana control on this Robin. We've seen a few circumstances now where Plasma has gone in with a reinitiation, but at only about 30-40% full mana, and then just run out in the process, which has led to him getting turned on by Imnsonia. So I just want to see him be a little bit more attentive towards what he's really working with.
Yeah, it's tough to just jump in there because that's his thought process. He has the blink as well, Magi's cloak to keep him sort of snowballing and waterfalling through these team fights. But if he's going to be caught, he's going to be caught. Ultimate used very willy-nilly by digitBloZe. Just a very quick jump on out. I question the usage.
I think the only rational mindset for that one is that Digit probably assumed if he got hit by the stun from the Terror Walls, the crowd control chain that would follow shortly after would be a little bit too much for him to handle and absorb. And even if he was forcibly back to base, Freecs would still have had a great opportunity to work on this Gold Fury and look to confirm yet another one over Imnsonia.
Yeah, that could definitely be the issue. So Freecs trying to keep their lead. They're holding on to it for now, but right side of the map becoming ever so popular. digitBloZe is here. Plasma looking to zone him out. And the rest of the team will show up. Pyromancer, just a daydream. Freecs not going to be able to look for it just yet.
Cynortas actually going to head on back to that soul line. Look at how heavily these creep waves have actually stacked up. Neither of these solo laners have been here anytime soon.
Nope.
Kind of forgot that they had all these minions to take care of.
Almost level 20, so I mean, you know, minions value certainly worth talking about there.
They're not the only ones either. It looks like just about everybody on the map is rapidly approaching that level 20 mark. Outside of the supports, of course. We don't really factor that in because even at level 13 and 15, Terra and Amaterasu will both be able to provide a decent amount of crowd control as well as just the base tankiness that you need.
Exactly. Just looking for some extra stats. A lot of it comes from the items for our support players. Gold Fury up, being pinged on. Imnsonia has started it this time around. Freecs are local. And they're going to be blinked on again, this time by the jungler. JhoX looking for the right side, the left side being occupied by Kino, who's got to find a way on out. The flank coming out from Robin, and he's going to be chased down. Nice knock-up coming from the Soul, and the rest of Freecs abandon their Robin player and can't even find a kill on the other side.
Freecs are just so separated right now. They just don't really seem to know which way to look. And Insomnia, they're staying grouped up for these heals, but it won't matter because Irritant's more than happy to still bring down Jhox anyway. Another nice strife there, going to lead to a double kill for Irritant, and he's still going.
Meanwhile, Beast is in trouble. Cynortas picks up the kill there. Great stun coming out from mrsacx. The mid laner finds 2, 1 for the solo laner. And what'd you say, Taco? They're going to take the Gold Fury.
It's almost like Freecs weren't really sure of what was happening in that engagement. And then they lose. Oh, all that thought, though. Kino wanted to join the body count, and he will, no problem whatsoever. But this could be a deicide now for Freecs as they're looking to bring down the final surviving member of Insomnia. But Digit, not wanting to go down without a fight, still looking for mrsacx.
He's basic attacking, but that's all he's got. Atonement misses the axe, as usual, but does get the kill after his team shows up with all of the damage as usual. Freecs on top here, 5,000 gold in the lead, 25.5. And the purple and green seem like they're doing all right.
But Plasma was just so separated from the rest of his team. He committed onto the back line for Insomnia. And Freecs, after they watched their Robin die, suddenly decide, okay, now we group up. And they make magic happen. Don't get me wrong. That was a great job from Freecs, a great recovery, I should say, from Freecs to not lose positioning control over the Gold Fury pit. But I'm just surprised that Insomnia weren't able to capitalize as well for that. And I'm starting to believe that this raw pick and the group sustain heals might actually be working against them with the Discordia.
Really? How so?
Because they all want to group up into the same area. And that's exactly what you want for a strife. You want everybody together. Because one strife plus an unruly magic, that's already half healthing the squishies from Insomnia, as we just witnessed in that last team fight.
Scylla can also do the same thing, but I like the root. And also Discordia, Is Discordia a better god than Scylla? Can we say that?
I don't think so. I think it all depends on the team compositions you're running, that one can be better than the other given the situation. Also, given the player.
Exactly. I mean, we saw Baskin come out with the Scylla and just embarrass players, but, you know, that's something different, so to speak. Terra collapsing on the right side. Not going to find the stun or the root, so. digitBloZe will be able to walk away easily. No problem there. Freecs maintain control of the Fire Giant circle.
Insomnia maybe just waiting for their next moment to strike, and it looks like they think that they might have found it onto Cynortas, but investing everything onto the Erlang Shen, who also still has his ult available and will get the heal in time, but Cynortas maybe looking at turtle form a little bit sooner out of there. But he does survive. 2 ultimates expended in place of 1. And I'm just not sure that that's worth it for Insomnia.
It's not. It's just not. Needed to get that kill. And so Freecs now, with the story intact, looking to push up. Fire Giant is available. Still healing up on the back. Tarasu going to fight just a little bit. Fire Giant not started just yet. Freecs still looking for position. Definitely want a pick at the very least before they start up here.
I think they might find it onto Digit. Doesn't have that Lord of the Afterlife for still a few moments longer. And Freecs, they have full control, it feels like, of the choke point, but a big supernova gonna take down AtonementSmite in no time at all.
Freecs could look for the turnaround here, but it's Plasma on the run, and everybody else as well. OhMyJhox, Oh My Beast, 2 players from Insomnia making it happen. And the Discordia could be next. The apple is gonna come out. Oh. Nice stripe. He's able to take down the soul, but he's not a soldier. Solo lane Osiris cuts him down. 4 for 1, and the Fire Giant being started by Insomnia.
Insomnia are going to take this Fire Giant either way. It doesn't matter that they've already lost their Hunter. Beast did not die in vain. And Jhox, I love this. Keeping not only the attention of Cynortas, but also putting pressure onto the T1 in mid lane. Gotta be careful though. Don't want to end up dying unnecessarily to this Erlang. Especially after pulling out the ultimate for free from the Erlang.
I think he's all right.
Here's squad.
Whole team gonna show up here in the mid lane. Tier 1. See you later. Nice and easy. Freecs are gonna push their global gold a little further. And like to push the right side of the map now.
But all of this as a result of Atonement and I'm not sure. I think that was Plasma who was standing a little bit too close to him. They were both just grouped up, and Beast out of nowhere drops the Supernova and just implodes Atonement on the spot. I just don't see the value so far in this Ullr pick. I feel like almost any other hunter with a CC Immune Ultimate and better survivability tools into this composition from Insomnia would have fared much better.
I'm with you. The Ullr's an interesting selection. I think he's just usually overvalued. And while he has some crowd control, he's not a true CC hunter.
I think if you're Vaporish Coast, you pick Ullr and you don't really think twice about it.
Sure. You've got to be that guy with the pick.
That's the way I view it. It's something where if you have not just the player confidence, but also the skill level required to make this pick work, then go for it. But I'm just not sure that we're really getting that out of Atonement, and that's why I feel like a hunter better suited to the team fights might have fared a little bit better here, but there is still chances for him to try and turn it around. It's just been rough stuff for him so far, because he definitely let Beast get the better end of him in the laning phase. That was obvious from the solo kill as soon as the supports fell away. And even now in the team fights, Beast just seems to be doing a little bit more for Insomnia.
Yeah, it's the long range stellar burst, the poke he's able to really exhibit and make happen. Kino dash in the back line, won't find anyone but Cyno. He's going to be in trouble. The rest of the team surging forward. Cynortas is pretty low, and he's going to get saved by the shell. What a play, Mr. Belding in the building. He's making it happen right there. Tier 2 tower, Creston, and Freecs. Good defense, but Insomnia's healing will make it so that they don't even have to back.
Everybody's so healthy again. One more time here from Insomnia, but nice TP in from Cynortas onto the T2 tower, and I think that's going to be enough. Freecs are still keeping Insomnia at bay here on this T2 siege. It just goes to show how close this match really is between the two teams, despite Insomnia having the advantage with the Fire Giant buff.
Yeah, I mean, right now they're still going to push up, and they have a slight lead. It's a tie game outside of Fire Giant, and Jose, from a distance, cuts down the enemy mid laner. And that's the pick you were asking for. That's the pick we got. Insomnia pushing forward, left side Phoenix, the main event, and mrsacx going to be the card.
This Phoenix won't stand a chance against Beast in these Soul in hands, especially not with that heat passive procced and ready to rumble. Plasma and Atonement both just trying to get out of dodge right now, away from this wrecking ball that is Insomnia. And with the left side fully exposed, now it's time to start working on the rest of the map. There's still 2 T2 towers left standing that Insomnia haven't even bothered with just yet.
Your 2 tower pushed up by Kino. Atonement trying to play D, but he's kind of by himself here. Plasma on the flank, not going to provide much of it. Insomnia just going to fold back. They've ended their Fire Giant push. We've got about a minute before Fire Giant comes back up. And that's what they've been able to do. Left side Phoenix, 2 towers in that lane. A mid lane tier 1. That's a pretty good Fire Giant push, I would say. With all that said, only 4,000 gold in the lead above Freecs. Freecs have done a good job of staying relevant.
Which is to be expected, because they did only acquire the 500, 1,500 from T2.
Right.
It's not a whole lot of gold that they built up from that objective push. It was mostly just opening up the map for the pressure that Insomnia can now apply a little bit easier, because with that left-hand side being so exposed, that's the ideal Phoenix to strip away at this point in the match, because now Freecs are going to have to make the decision between contesting the Fire Giant or defending their base. I like what Freecs have already done, though. They made sure to push out the creep waves heavily in their favor, so a member from Insomnia should spend a little bit of time to just keep that wave steadily pushed up. I would look towards maybe Jox or even Digit to be the one that should be pushing up that left-hand side, just to keep the threat of those fire minions pouring into the base from Freecs going. That way they can possibly stagger these fights into 4v5s.
Plasma just going to blink to the back line, but immediately get chased out. He misses his ultimate, and Insomnia just take a step back, and they're ready to fight. Terror roots up Blaze, but they're just going to heal out of the mid lane heal.
Divine Ruin, though, is slowing the process pretty well. Another nice strive into the Unruly Magic. Digit might need a little bit more magical defense here. It doesn't really seem, or excuse me, not magical defense, but health in general. I just think that he's struggling to stay alive. This Discordia Pope just putting in so much work right now because of that Obsidian Shard.
Yeah, I mean, it's an odd item, an item we don't see all that often, but when players are deliberately itemizing against you, the Talisman of Energy and some of the other magical defense options available, that's certainly a nice look for where we want to see Insomnia go. That said, the rest of the team fight surging forward. Terra going to do what they can. digitBloZe getting in trouble with the apple, but OhMyJhox going to take the first life. Jacques going to show up as well, but Kino, 3 for 1. Double kill for the Soul player. And he's certainly on top.
That was rather abrupt here, and take a look at that left-hand side. We already talked about this being the win condition for Insomnia, and they're not going to waste any more time. Still, with 2 towers and 2 Phoenixes standing, this won't be the weakest Titan in the world, but it's still not going to stand a chance against the entirety of Insomnia minus Jhox. And only AtonementSmite left to play defense with 2 waves of fire minis pouring into the base, Tom. It is not looking good for Freecs here.
Not the weakest Titan in the world. It's just a tribute. This one goes to Insomnia, 35 minutes of play. Great job to them bringing it home.
That team fight fell apart so rapidly for Freecs, and mostly due to, I think that's all credit to Jhox right there. I think he earned the MVP vote with that last play alone.
Right.
Sure, he might have ended up falling, but the way that he was able to split the attention from Freecs is the main reason why Insomnia were able to find those picks. He goes straight onto Irritant, tells Digit to back him up. Both of those two start collapsing onto the Discordia, and that prompts Freecs to immediately shift their attention away from the Fire Giant, away from the backline of Insomnia, and they just got 2 split apart.
Very clean stuff there. Just classic Smite as far as the winning team is concerned, able to take down the opposition. One clean team fight, go directly to the Titan and get the victory. So, most valuable player on the way. How do you feel about it?
I think it's got to be Jhox.
You think it's Jhox?
It should be Jhox because of what he was able to accomplish, but I could see it maybe going the way of their mid laner, possibly Jose, had a really nice raw snipe that led to that left-hand Phoenix being taken away in the first place. Had he not found that snipe onto Irritant, I am very doubtful that the rest of Insomnia would have been able to push as easily as they did, because Discordia realistically felt like the only member from Freecs really keeping everyone pushed back from Insomnia.
Yeah, Discordia did a good job, but watching where players are going to wind up, I'm with you. Jhox looked really strong there in the jungle on the Pele. Still waiting on the option here for most valuable player, but watching where everything was going out, I'm with you. I think Jhox was certainly one of the main players behind everything, where they were going, what they were doing, and what the team was trying to accomplish.
I also just, I think for Freecs in the next go round, what we should probably expect to see is maybe some adjustments towards the dual lane from Freecs, because I don't feel like Atonement was actually able to do much with the Euler despite being handed a pretty free lead. He just got too confined to that dual lane because of the Soul. You leave that lane, Soul takes your T1 and your T2 tower, you rotate to the team fight. Soul has a Stellar Burst and a Supernova. She's automatically a little bit more relevant here, and I think that giving Atonement a better pick that he can work with might fare just that much better.
Jhox is your most valuable player here in the jungle on the Pele. Able to make the plays here. This was the first blood that he teamed up with the solo laner for, taking down Cynortas. OhMyJhox going to continue doing it here in the jungle as well, and really able to figure out where those good plays are.
I just love the way that Insomnia continuously managed to split apart the team fights there for Freecs, because their composition, surprisingly enough, relied on them being grouped up for Insomnia, by the way. I want to clarify.
Exactly,
I'm talking about Insomnia here because they're the ones that were running the lack of sustain, I should say. And I am just very surprised that Freecs continued to kind of play into the trap.